to, bring people to the hospitals. We're seeing makeshift ambulances and all that type of stuff. These are the examples of what healthcare systems should be, and the examples, and honestly, a stain on the international community and these big infrastructures and institutions for failing to do that. In the interest of time, I want to ask one concluding question, which is, you both mentioned kind of the long-term sustained impact of healthcare. Starvation. We know, we hear a lot about refeeding syndrome, children that have been malnutritioned for certain amounts of times. Their brain development hinders them. And we're also seeing and learning about intergenerational healthcare issues. I think, Doctora, you mentioned kind of the shift in the composition of the body and the brain. We're learning a lot more about the impacts of the healthcare system, even in a magic situation where you had a wand right now and were able to restore healthcare facilities, damage medically that has been done on bodies that have been starved, traumatized, experienced, the most unjust forms of chemical exposures, where skin conditions are, literally eating the skin of children, as we keep seeing them all over social media. What do we do from now? Like, how do we move forward? What does advocacy look like to support the healthcare system in Gaza? And what can we do as advocates to continue to healthcare equity in Palestine as we move forward?
Yeah, I think very important to center the voices of Gaza always, always, always. As we start rebuilding, the last thing we want to see is rebuilding efforts that are completely empty of context, that are coming to us from a GHF-like, humanitarian system that doesn't actually take into account the reality on the ground. What we've done at Doctors Against Genocide is work really closely with the people in Gaza to really understand, first of all, what is happening, but also what they envision as the solution moving forward. And we take guidance from Gaza because they know their community more than anybody else. They know their needs more than anybody else. And in any effort moving forward, of course, there's going to be huge long-term impacts. Like you said, starvation, the continuous displacement, the largest cohort of child amputations and orphans and children that survived with no surviving parents. So like, you're looking at societal structural damage that is going to take a long time to fix. But the solution has to come from taking guidance from the ground. It has to come from really listening to our colleagues on the ground in Gaza and honoring their expertise and their knowledge and giving them what they need, in terms of, we will deal with, obviously rebuilding hospitals and reskilling, the healthcare system and all those things. But we need to first listen to our people in Gaza. I cannot stress this enough. It's so important because we see this peace deal being administered by, foreign entities. Even the president of the United States is appointed, leading this peace plan. So we want to make sure that whatever rebuilding efforts have sovereignty, take sovereignty into account, and acknowledge that we have deep expertise in Gaza and in Palestine. These are world-class experts that we want to listen to and support and uplift in everything we do.
I want to add also that accountability is paramount. It's the most important thing, because if the perpetrators get away with this, if those who continue to be silent, enabled, funded this genocide get away with this, this means that the scenario can be repeated in Gaza and Palestine, anywhere else, anytime. So accountability is part of the healing. It's part of the prevention. It's part of justice. It's part of health. They need to be held accountable, because those victims, those children who have lost 3 limbs and they have to spend the rest of their lives with prosthetics in the best case scenario, they need to feel that whoever caused this to them has been held accountable. That does have psychological value. That's very important. This genocide that has been committed over 2 years, there are so many after effects and health effects of it that are gonna be with us forever. They're not reversible. We are all destroyed. We are all mentally destroyed forever. We will never be again or feel like, we were before, before this genocide. And that's us from the outside, just watching what's happening. Imagine the children, the mothers, the families that lost their loved ones, their houses multiple times over. How much is the trauma that they endured and they will continue to endure. So, but with the help of all of us, we will try to help them as much as we can with the thing that we can help with. But we know that there are things that can never be reversed. If you lost your limbs, if you lost, we cannot do much. We cannot do much to help you, but we have to do all what we can. And as Maisa said, you have to believe the victims. You have to listen to the victims. They know best what helps them. We need to center their voices, not centering their voices, going with the experts, quote unquote, whoever they is actually part of the erasure. It's part of continuing the genocide. That's why the Palestinians have been going through genocide for 100 years. No one is listening because we always center the others. The leftists here, the leftists in Israel, the leftists there, the UN. No. Going forward, only the Palestinian must speak. Everyone else must listen. Whether you are the UN, whether you are Israel, whether you are the US, it's time for them to shut up and listen and pay their due for the crimes that they committed. Whether it's healthcare, whether it's education, whether it's rebuilding, Gaza should be centered. Gaza, the victims should be, because they know the situation better than anyone else, and we owe it to them to lead this effort. So again, unfortunately, there are things that we cannot fix. And it's going to be an intergenerational trauma, both on the physical side, as you said, children who have been deprived of essential nutrition for 2 years, they might have consequences all their life. People who lost their families, the psychological trauma, all these things. But again, trust our people, and with the help of all the good people conscious all over the world, hopefully we will rise again, we will rebuild again and again. The most important thing is accountability. For us, accountability is medicine. We will insist on accountability. If there is no accountability, this means we are giving them the check, a free check to do it again, over and over again. And this must not be allowed.
Thank you both so much. And I just want to also remind folks that as we're seeing members of the Global Sumud Flotilla come out of illegal Israeli detention, that they've spoken to us about the very poor healthcare conditions inside of Israeli dungeons and places where you have exposure to chemical irritants, where you have lack of clean drinking water, where you have extremely unsanitary conditions, and lack of food that's moldy and insect infested. I think it is very important for us to acknowledge that beyond the genocide of Gaza, there is still a massive war on healthcare, I would say, carried out by Israel against the Palestinian people in the West Bank, in the in the prison system, and just for those living under occupation, where we're seeing sometimes people die because their ambulance gets caught at a checkpoint that you brought up, and people are not able to obtain cancer treatments or treatments that require kind of international aid at all. So I just wanted to make sure that we brought this up. And as we wrap out, to say that the war on healthcare is one that is central at this point to driving this agenda forward. Thank you both for joining us so much. And I just want to end by showing you guys this beautiful scene from DC that I'm about to join in a moment, where we are out here protesting in front of the Israeli lobby, making sure that the images of children that are targeted by Israel in the hospitals, as you see, are on display for the American public to see. And we need to continue to share these stories. We need to continue to speak up. We need to continue to advocate for healthcare, for justice, for equity, and Dr. Nidal, as you said, for accountability for accountability moving forward. So keep on the pressure. Please do follow Doctors Against Genocide. Please do send our deepest love and deep regards for Dr. Al-Far, who could not join us from Al-Nasser Hospital, for doing, the work of God. Truly, these physicians are doing the work of God. And this is not to glorify them. It's to acknowledge what it takes to keep going when every system fails you. But what has not failed them is their faith, their conviction, and their humanity. And may Gaza continue to guide all of us with those three things in our hearts. Thank you for joining us both.
Thank you,
And it's so
Hazan.
lovely. We'll see
Thank
you
you.
all soon.
And
Palestine.
next
Thank
time
you.
in Palestine, all of us. Thank you.
بإذن
Inshallah.
الله.
Take
Inshallah.
care.
Thank you.
Okay, السلام
Thank
عليكم.
you.